and determine, okay, do I need a full contingency during these periods of the hours or whatever. And it was, then we looked at some other models, and what essentially that the model that was presented and developed really related to trying to keep as many people on staff as we could before we started having to call in overtime. And then you would be able to get down to a level of 12 under the particular model that was developed by Fire Rescue, which then would mean that the outlying stations would be responding to the interior of the city, and the interior station, the one at Station 73, would now not be staffed. Now that, in looking at, from kind of talking with Tom, would that occur often? The answer is no, but it is an option of trying to maintain a service level and at the same time control the overtime expenses of the city, the fire department. Again, that is not the preferred option, and we made it very clear that wasn't the preferred option. The preferred option is, maintaining 3 at each one of our stations, then looking at other types of service delivery, such as moving the shift commander in to operate as one of the operating personnel. The chiefs then would have to take on some of those responsibilities of when the commander is now operating as a member of a crew. We talked about how do you keep the transport unit that we have, how that then would be integrated into the program, and when all those things would occur until you got to the point of 12. So that's how the implementation, but it is all designed around trying to control overtime and the overtime expense. The other problem that we're having in the overtime, and I'll just say this to the council, is relates to people that are able to operate the equipment piece. They're driver engineers or fire tech 2s, whatever you want to call them. But what it amounts to is that you've got to meet certain qualifications to do that in order to drive that piece of equipment. And then you have to pass certain types of tests and certain types of certifications. When people retired, that was where you had sort of the strata of retirement occurring, was in the driver area. We've just recently given tests. I think 4 people were actually passed the test and have been promoted to that level. We now have still 1 vacancy. Okay, none.
Okay.
Actually,
Just only 4 passed, I assume.
well, no. we had a 100% pass rate. Okay, we had a good pass rate on the test. But what it amounts to is that we still have a vacancy in the situation yesterday. That individual was also, so now we have 2. Okay, so so when you have one of your individuals like that is assigned to a shift, and you don't have someone qualified to drive the fire truck, then you're going to have to bring somebody in that is, whether it's a lieutenant or whatever. And that's kind of some of the issues that they've had this since probably January, February, because we've had a number of individuals retire in that particular strata. That has been a challenge for the department. The other challenge is now we don't have any in our firefighter ranks that have enough years of service that would qualify to take the driver engineer test. Okay, now we have 2 individuals that are qualified to take the test. They have now passed, they've got their certifications and all the training they need to do, is that they just simply do not have the years of service in order to take the test.
Who establishes that?
Okay, by contract.
Is there a waiver that can be?
Okay, that is by contract. So we would have to agree, in which the city has no problem, because these two individuals would meet the. They've got the training. They went on their own, by the way, to get the certifications that were necessary to do it in order to take the test. And so all they're needing is years of service, or on the option, we would have to go external to the organization. So just to let you know,
So what qualification do you have?
you could drive.
I got 25 years experience driving.
So could the if it's an issue, is it a union issue?
It's a union issue.
Can the union, if it's a union issue, can they waive that themselves through an agreement with the city?
Yes, they could. By a memorandum of understanding,
Right.
we could agree.
And
And
if they do that, that means that the overtime gets less.
not necessarily. I think again, but we've indicated that we would be willing to consider that, because we believe that if you have individuals within your workforce that are qualified to take the test, and that we should be working with them rather than going external to the organization.
This
But-
is an
but-
extenuating circumstance.
Yeah. But, okay, so we're going to be, okay, what I'm saying is we're going to continue working with the union to try to get that resolved, because we believe that that's the appropriate place to try to resolve it first. Before you go external to the organization, we already know that there are people external that, for example, that are over in Volusia County, they would qualify, and some things like that. So we much prefer to promote our own people.
Interesting how how that new fire truck that we got, that possible transport, that how that could help eliminate